Good evening and welcome to Power Up Your Brand, the Entrepreneur Edition. My name is Markea Haywood. I am the president of Gamma Kappa Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Now, tonight's program is really meant to empower you and help you to unlock skills to better your brand. GKO is a part of the Unapologetically Ready Central Region under the leadership and direction of Regional Director Kiana W. Davis. Tonight's discussion is meant to empower you with resources to build your economic wealth. Building economic wealth has been the cornerstone of Alpha Kappa Alpha's DNA since the founding on Howard University in Washington, D.C. As you might know, our international president, Danette Anthony Reed, has launched 6 initiatives under her 2022 through 2026 administration. These initiatives include strengthen our sisterhood, enhance our environment, uplift our local community, advocate for social justice, empower our families, and build our economic wealth. Under these initiatives, the goal is to improve the lives of all that we serve. Alpha Kappa Alpha is committed to supporting Black-owned businesses, women entrepreneurs, and building generational wealth for our community. It is our hope that you will leave today with resources to power up your brand. Welcome once again to Power Up Your Brand, the Entrepreneur Edition. At this time, I would like to turn the program over to our moderators, Starr Gadson and Egonmwan.
Thank you, Markea, and good evening, everyone. I am going to introduce Starr Gadson. So Veronica Starr Gadson, publicly known as Starr, is a media liaison, artist developer, businesswoman, and humanitarian. Born and raised on the South Side of Chicago to a musically inclined family, Starr always desired to give back to her community and use her love of the arts to help others. Starr started her journey partnering with philanthropic organizations and corporations across the state, leading to the launch of her own organization, Connect the Stars. Connect the Stars covers the full spectrum of entertainment, including but not limited to brand and image development, networking, concert, and event management and consultation for other industry professionals. In 2017, Starr leveraged a corporate partnership to provide financial literacy for youth in the Chicagoland area. As a mother of 2, she understands the importance of educating children on money management and navigating financial systems. Starr also works in the radio industry, lending her talents in sales and marketing to several stations like Power 92.3, 106.3, and Rejoice 102.3. Starr also became the first VIP experience executive for the Chicago Sky WNBA. She is a firm believer that change in communities starts in the minds of the residents. Starr is currently attending NCU, working towards her PhD in psychology with a built-in master's. Although she has already accomplished so much, this is only the beginning for Starr. The sky is not her limit, and I can do all things through Christ will always be her mindset. As an inspirational speaker, Starr engages people of all ages and motivates audiences to overcome obstacles and achieve goals. She is currently on a school tour titled Whole Time Tour to motivate students and young adults to slay their dreams. Starr loves raising her 2 children and helping them to become the best versions of themselves. She is also a dog mom of 3. Starr is a kind-hearted person with a bubbly personality. She is congenial and loves love. She enjoys reading, sports, nature, dancing, traveling, and so much more. Her favorite word is balance. She believes it is important to maintain a healthy balance in all aspects of her life.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. All right. Thank you for that. And I hope that I can read yours as gracefully as you read mine. um, Idia Egonmwan, Esquire. Okay, y'all. Okay, give her those points. It's a marketing, intellectual property, and ESG counsel at McDonald's. Her work involves providing strategic legal advice to various teams on a wide range of projects, including advertising campaign review, negotiating sponsorship agreements, and researching and advising on food and nutrition matters. In her role, Idia is also responsible for providing legal advice regarding McDonald's diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative, as well as regulatory advice related to the environmental, social, and corporate governance. Prior to working at McDonald's, Idia was a corporate and intellectual property attorney at Steptoe and Johnson LLP in Washington, D.C., a top 100 law firm. A Chicago native, Idia is a proud double HBCU graduate, having received her BA in Comparative Women's Studies from Spelman, College in Atlanta, Georgia, and her JD from Howard University School of Law in Washington, D.C. In her spare time, she serves as a mentor for Chicago scholars and a volunteer attorney for the Chicago Bar Association's Lawyers in the Classroom Elementary School program. Y'all give a big old hand clap and welcome to Idia.
Thank you so much, Starr. And again, it is such an honor and a pleasure to be here with you all. Intellectual property is a passion of mine, so it always feels good to talk about it, basically. So how many people, and you can put this in the chat, think of your favorite brands and just throw the names in the chat, the brands that you can think of or any famous logos you can think of. And I think that's a good point for us to get started at, because all those brands that you all are naming, Lululemon, Apple, Nike, all those, I see some more coming in. Let's see, don't be shy, y'all. I know we love brands, Starbucks, Amazon, think of, Hermes if you want to get like luxury, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, I love Gucci. Okay, so keep them coming in the chat. But as you think about the brands that you love, what we're going to talk about tonight is kind of the basics. So this series is about entrepreneurs, so not as big a scope as Nike, but there are things that we can learn and take into our own personal businesses. So my focus today is going to be on intellectual property. Some of this may be new to you all, and some of you all may know it already, but I think it's very important, especially for building economic wealth in the Black community, that we learn ways to protect our ideas, to protect our inventions, to protect our dances, to protect our music, to protect our businesses. So I'm going to start with copyright, and I'm going to jump over to patent, because I feel like trademark is the one that is most important for us, and the one that I think most people seek out when they're trying to build their brand. So for copyright, what is protected is a work that's artistic, literary, or intellectual. Think of novels, think of movies, think of books, think of even software code, drawings, photographs. And the interesting thing about a photograph is you have a copyright. The person who took that photograph is the person who likely owns the copyright. And so copyright is any sort of artistic or novel, which new work that is in a tangible medium. So that means it's on paper, it's on a disc, you can see it, you can watch it, you can read it. And an example of copyright, so song lyrics to Beyonce's Church Girl, one of my favorites, going to see her in Pittsburgh, August. But the song lyrics to that. But if you also think about a song, you have lyrics, but then there's a copyright to the music, right? So there could be different layers of copyright ownership when it comes to songs. The copyright symbol, if you can see it, you may notice it sometimes, it's a C with inside of a circle. So whenever you see that, that's someone signifying that they have ownership in whatever this copyrighted work is. How do you get federal protection for a copyright? So I'm gonna back up first. Whenever you create something and put it in a tangible medium, meaning on paper, meaning you compose it, you record it, you have copyright rights. Now, Those rights can be enhanced by registering with the Copyright Office, but you do not need to register with the Copyright Office to claim copyright ownership. So I want to make that very clear. So if you take a picture of something and you see someone using that picture, you do have rights, and you do have rights to ask them to stop using it. Now, whether you can go to court, whether you can seek damages, that comes into place when you have actually registered with the Copyright Office. So the benefits of federal protection, like I said, it protects your exclusive rights to reproduce, to distribute, to perform if it's a song or a play, or to display the work if it's a picture or a movie. And it prevents other people from copying or exploiting the creation without your permission. And let me reiterate this. You do not have to register your copyrighted work with the Copyright Office to have rights. Now, again, if you do register, you get enhanced rights, but you can always tell someone if you own a picture that they can stop using it, okay? So I'm gonna jump over to patents. So when you think of a patent, these are inventions that you think of. Pharmacists, you think of machines. I think Crocs at one point tried to get a patent for their shoes because of the way they look. So it's some new design. It has to be new. So it can't be a patent based off of another patent. It has to be new, it has to be unique, and it has to be usable. So like it has to have some function to it. So an example of that would be the iPhone, computers, machinery, cars, Teslas, the things that go into cars. I'm just looking around my house right now. This Peloton over here, fans, you know, those types of things. Think of inventions. So the symbol for patents, there isn't one really. You may see something that says patent pending if they don't have a patent yet, but they're in the process of applying for a patent. But there's generally no symbol for a patent. And the way you obtain protection for a patent, so you do have to register with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. And when you register for a patent, you have to reveal exactly how it works. And that gives you protection for a certain number of years over that patent. And then after that patent expires, then anyone in the world can make your invention. So if you notice, like some companies will come out with something and you'll wonder, well, I wonder because I'm a nerd, I wonder like, why has no other company come out with that? And it's probably because that first company has a patent and no one can use that patent until the patent expires. So patents do have an expiration date, and once they expire, you can try to renew it, or it just becomes free for anyone to use. Now, my favorite category of intellectual property is trademarks. So trademarks are a word, a phrase, a design, or a combination of things that identifies the source of the goods or the services you are providing. And that's really important because when people think of a trademark, they think of, oh, that trademark is for this lip gloss, or that trademark is for this umbrella, when the trademark in actuality is telling you the source of where you get the lip gloss from or the umbrella from. So I'm going to use an example. I work at McDonald's. Whenever you see those golden arches, you know that that is McDonald's. You see it on the highway, you see it behind a tree, you know what it stands for. It is so recognizable. That is a trademark, and that is the kind of trademark that you want to have for your business. You want to have a trademark that you use consistently and one that you use in connection with your business. So if you get a trademark, for example, and then you start like changing it, changing the colors of it, using it a different way, that's not helping you create strong brand recognition. You need to use that trademark so much so that when people see it, they automatically know that's your business. If you think about Nike, for example, I'm sure when Nike first came out and people saw that swoop, they didn't automatically know what it is. But now when you see that swoop, you don't even have to see the word Nike. You don't even have to see just do it to know what it is. So a trademark is a very, very, very important tool to have in building your brand. And it indicates the source of your brand, what it is that you're selling, what service you are providing, and it distinguishes your brand from other brands. So the example I gave, Nike for gym shoes, symbols for trademarks. So there are a couple different ones. If you see the TM, like the small TM, that means that that trademark is either pending an application or they haven't made an application yet. They're thinking about it, but they're just letting you know that whatever phrase or logo or design, we are claiming trademark rights. So you can use TM without having your actual registration. And that's what I recommend. Let me stop. I did something I forgot to do something very important. None of this is legal advice. I am not your attorney. And I do not represent McDonald's while I'm talking. This is just my personal opinion. Okay, now, so a TM is what I suggest or what people should use when they're just getting their brand started. You cannot use the federal registration symbol with an R, which is an R with a circle, until you get a federal registration. So if you're just starting out with your brand, you know this is the symbol, the design, the logo, the word that you want to use, throw that TM up there to let people know you are making it known that this is your trademark. So in the event that someone decides to use your mark, you can say, I gave notice, I put the TM, and you will have some rights there as far as ownership. The way to get federal protection with a trademark is you register it with the U.S. Trademark Office. It's an application process. One very important thing with trademarks generally is you have to be using that mark before you apply for the registration. So Trademark Office likes to see what's called use in commerce, meaning you have been using this mark in association with whatever it is that you sell, in association with whatever service you provide. So you have to have use generally before you can actually get registration. There is something called a intent to use mark that some people do, like if they know they're going to use it within 6 months, they'll go ahead and submit the application, but then you have to provide what's called like a specimen showing your use within those 6 months. So the best thing to do is start using your mark, use that TM, and then apply for the application. And the benefits of federal protection are, it essentially just gives you a full protection of the trademark being registered by somebody else, being used by somebody else. And when you think of trademarks, they're generally categorized with like classes. So the example that I like to give is Apple computers. We all know that trademark. I could not come with Apple, like another electronic. Like I couldn't come with like Apple well, I wouldn't do iPads because that's Apple too, but like Apple tablet. Like I would not be able to get that registered because it is too similar to something that already exists. So when you're thinking of your trademark, you really want to be creative in like, is this something that already exists? Is this like a arbitrary word? Or is it something that's really, really descriptive and the trademark office is going to reject it? So if someone has a company that sells mattresses and they name their company Bed, they will probably not be able to get a trademark because any company who sells mattresses is going to need to use the word bed. So you can't get rights to use that word for bed because it kind of it limits the scope. So you want to be creative. You want to have the most like arbitrary, fanciful word. Those are the best trademarks and the trademarks that are likely to get accepted the most. Yeah, and it prevents others from using your trademark. And the good thing is if you have a good trademark, people will maybe want to license, and then that's where the money comes in because you can, license out your trademark and you don't have to do nothing but fill out the, contract and let them use it, make sure they're using it right, and you get money. So that is an overview of intellectual property. I hope it was helpful. We do have time for questions at the end, so think of your questions and I will turn it over to Starr.
Okay, thank you for that. So mine actually kind of correlates with everything that she just said, just in different meanings. So one of the first things that when you become an entrepreneur that you want to do is people start looking for ways to brand and market their product. And a lot of times think they are one and the same. And they're not. And so I just kind of want to explain the difference of branding versus marketing, and then also a little bit of imaging, because these are the things that you will need to know so that you know, are you trademarking? Is this a patent? Like, these are important to understand so that you know when you go to your intellectual property attorney that you are aware, because a lot of times I talk to a lot of attorneys and they're like, they always come with the wrong information. So I'm always correcting them, like, you don't actually need a patent for this. This is where you need a trademark, or you don't need a trademark for this. This is all where you need copyright. So just to kind of explain the differences. So marketing and branding are very, very often, again, used interchangeably, but they are different. Marketing refers to like tactics and strategic plans and things to promote your product or your service or your brand. It actually thinks about like your advertising, your sales, and things of that nature for your promotions. Branding is actually the process of creating a unique image and the identity. So think what your brand looks like. So as she was speaking about the swoop for Nike, that is actually their brand. That's not them marketing that. That's just their brand. When you see the M for McDonald's, that's their brand. When we see the siren for Starbucks, that's their brand. These are things that we can, as she said, we know the images without even the words, and we know automatically what they represent. We understand. And then we also think about, because of the brand, it helps with the reputation. So when we think of those, we see Chick-fil-A. That's attached to their brand. Attached to their brand is good service. You may think of Popeyes, and you may think, you know, you like their chicken, but depending on where you are, the service is not as great. So that's just kind of to explain a little bit about the difference between branding. Now, branding actually, you want to think about how to make yourself stand out. That comes with your logo, as she stated. That comes with your colors. That comes with the design of your logo and colors. You don't want to start with like a black and gold and then change into a black and silver because it looks better on this background, and then change into a maroon and pink. You know, you want to make sure that those are consistent across the board so that people have people kind of know. So I'm going to use pink and green. Most people that see pink and green, even if you're not an AKA, they kind of assume, are you an AKA? Are you of this? Because pink and green has become a part of the brand and the imaging of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. You also want to think that marketing kind of focuses on the short-term results, meaning like what you're trying to sell in maybe quarter one, or what product are you trying to promote at that given time, where branding is more of your long-term goal. It's the life, it's the DNA of your brand, of your company. Branding kind of is basically, you want to make sure that it is attached to your product and your service, and marketing is putting your product and your service out to the world, which is also different from public relations. So I wanted to tap on that just a little bit, because a lot of people say, I want to market my product and I want to get out there. But in actuality, they're looking for more of a public relations. They want somebody to introduce their product to the world, and to get them on things of like TV or news. And that will fall more under public relations versus marketing. So if there's any questions you have about that, we can discuss that as well. Now, as far as imaging, it's not hard, but it's basically the breakdown that you want to think of. What are your colors? What is your goal? Who are you marketing to? Is it young girls? Is it grown men? Is it both? Things that are going to appeal to different age groups. You want to make sure that all of these things match across the board. You want to sell things that are, how can I say this? Because the society is changing so much. So normally, you know, we would teach it that you want to kind of sell things as where the society kind of accepts them as, but things are changing. So now you just want to kind of sell them as, who are you marketing to? If you're marketing to a 2-year-old, you may want to use bright colors and things that 2-year-olds are attracted to. If you're marketing to an adult, you may want to use Black, where we kind of look at that as a luxury color, and you may want to use like things that are a little bit more smooth as opposed to like bold and 3D and in your face. So you know, you just kind of want to make sure that your brand and your imaging is aligned so that when it's time to market, everything kind of will make sense, so that when you have everything that you need, you can go ahead and call Idia and say, hey, this is my brand. This is what I'm trying to market. Please explain to me whether I need to copyright this, whether I need to trademark this, or is this something that, you know, I would need a patent for. So just because I do want to get questions out here to kind of start a conversation, if it's okay with Markea, I would like to know, can we kind of open it up, and then we can kind of go back and forth and discuss other things if anybody has any questions that they want to actually.
Yes, you can go ahead and open.
All right, great. Hey, ladies. And I'm not sure if there's any gentlemen on here, but if so, hi, ladies and gent. If there are any questions, you can raise your virtual hand.
And I have a question in the chat, Starr, that I can kick off with.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
the question is, I'm a food photographer. Should I have a trademark for my business name? So I'll take the first part of the question. So I always, in my non-legal opinion, think it's a good idea to trademark a business name, especially if it's like unique or cool, or, you know, something that you think would pick up in the industry, in the space. I always think it's a good idea. And you don't have to have a trademark. Like, I'm gonna make that very clear. You don't have to have a trademark. Like some people, you know, like I wouldn't, if I had a law firm and it was like Idia E firm, I probably, like, I don't need to trademark that. Nobody's gonna use that. So it's trademarks aren't necessary, but they're helpful if you know, feel like you have a really good idea, or if you came up with a really cool name and you want to protect it and you feel like it's going to take off, then, you know, I think it's a good idea to trademark. And the second part of the question is, my photos already have a copyright. Is this correct? So yes, the minute you snap a photo, the minute you write a book, the minute you write a song, you have copyright protection. However, and so that means if someone else uses your song, if someone else uses your image, you have the right to tell them, take that down. That is mine. I own rights in that. Now, if it escalates to a point where like they're refusing, the copyright registration comes in handy, because then you can actually like enforce those rights and go to court if you needed to. So I always say, I mean, you know, again, it depends on the industry, but copyright registration is usually for like songs, like people who are like kind of already famous, or you've written something that you think is really going to take off. But just in creating whatever it is, and putting it in a tangible like form, you already do have copyright protection. It's just whether or not you want that elevated level of protection of being able to sue somebody if they use your copyright. Any other questions?
So how long is the process for either a copyright, trademark, or patent? Is there a particular time frame that it takes to get any of those three entities?
Yeah, I mean, the trademark office right now is so backed up. I mean, I would say from COVID, I mean, it took a long time anyway, but like because of COVID, they're sending out letters to people saying, don't expect your application to actually be assigned to an examiner, which is the attorney at the trademark office that will like essentially determine whether or not you get it, for like minimum 6 months. So the process has gotten very long now. It didn't always used to be like that. So that's for trademarks and patents. I would say, I'm not certain on copyright, but my thought is that there are a lot less people getting copyright protection. But I would say give it a minimum 6 months. Like, don't have an expectation that once you fill out that application, you're gonna hear something next week. It is taking a very, very long time. And that is assuming that they quickly accept, you know, your application. Like sometimes there's back and forth with the office where if they feel like your mark for that mattress company bed is just too descriptive and it's gonna like clog up the use of bed for other companies, then you have office actions where they send you a letter asking you to essentially explain yourself. And then so there can be some back and forth with that. So it can take a very, very long time. But I would say minimum 6 months.
Is it a process that an individual can do, or do they need an attorney to file one of the patents, trademarks, or copyrights?
That is a good question, Markea. So the process was designed such that an individual could do the application process on their own. Like if you go to, and we provided at the end, the resources for the trademark office and the patent office. If you go to the website, they have a lot of like tutorials, they have step-by-step processes, but an attorney helps because, for example, if you submit your application and you get a response from the examiner saying, we need a different type of picture showing you using this mark. Most individuals won't call the examiner, but attorneys will, because sometimes it's easier to get them on the phone to agree than in writing, so just attorneys know those ways to like help speed up the process. Again, the process was designed such that you do not need an attorney. It does not require you to have an attorney. You do not need an attorney, but they are helpful because there are just certain things we know how to do what they're asking for. Yeah. Is it Tiamara?
Yes, it is. You said my name correctly. I'm so happy. Hi, everyone. My name is Tiamara, and I am a recent college graduate from SIU Carbondale. And I just had a question. It's kind of unrelated, but related. I was wondering, and anyone can kind of jump on this. What is some advice you have for individuals who are looking to become entrepreneurs, but struggle with deciding a specific path to pursue? Sorry, that's my daughter. And again, as for myself, I am a recent college grad, and I would really like to empower myself and become an entrepreneur someday. I just struggle with deciding on a specific path I want to pursue. I don't want to do something that I'm not passionate about, but I'm really struggling on deciding which way to take. So if there's any advice you all could share to help guide me and know like some better practices, basically.
Starr, I'm gonna let you take that because
Okay. So something that you said, so let's unpack this a little bit. So something that you said, you want to do something that you're passionate about, but you kind of are having a problem trying to find out what that niche may be. So I guess my question would be, give me a couple of your passions. What are some things that you do that you would do or you do anyway and you're not getting paid for it? What are some things that people compliment you for? Like, tell me a little bit about yourself, because I'm pretty sure within your answer, there's your business.
So for myself, I would say something that I really get pulled into a lot is advice. A lot of my friends come to me for advice on just about anything because they know that I'm not going to tell them what they want to hear, but rather what they need to hear. And sometimes it does come off a little, not aggressive, but really headstrong. But I am a realist type of friend, and I love to like guide young women to greatness. And I haven't thought about that until just now that I'm like actually talking about it. But I am that person in my friends and family's lives who really just, everyone comes to me for advice, but I'm not sure if that is particularly what I will be interested in long term. I'm really trying to think, like there's just so many different things that I could really say that I do. So I'm really unsure. Yeah.
Well, no, that's okay. So let me tell you this. It doesn't have to be long term. You can have, as I say, birth one baby, and that baby can make way for the other baby. So if that's something that you naturally do, to me, I heard life coach. So if you're, and it's a couple life coaches on here, but I certify life coaches. So just let me know. But if that's something that you are doing, then, or it can be consulting. I receive checks for those, doing both of those. So it doesn't have to be a long term. I'll give myself as an example because I do those currently, and I'm actually pursuing a PhD in something completely different. So it doesn't have to be, I want you to kind of look at these in baby steps versus this has to be for the rest of your life. You can make money from these things right now. 3-6 months, you might realize you don't really like it, and you might realize you really love it, and you created so the way that I think, you say you give a lot of advice. Well, you can start as like a consultant, or you can start it as like a life coach. You can do it, and then let's say you get so big, now you're hiring consultants. Now you're hiring life coaches. Now you have built the business that you're attached to, but you're not in the business. So I will always say, if that's not the way you want to go with giving yourself as a service, then you can definitely do a product. You can sell something that you always like to buy. I know in college, if it was anything that I needed, that was where, if I needed clothes, I was working. Back then it was Wet Seal and whatever else it was, whatever's in the mall. If I needed a phone, I worked at T-Mobile. Whatever it was that I can do, I did, so that I can make money and get the discount. So think about something that you're spending money on and that you can sell. And especially now with Amazon and things of that nature, you can go to Alibaba or a few of these other sites and put something on, and you can do drop shipment. So it's so many ways to make money where you don't have to necessarily be attached while you're figuring out what is it you want to do. But I guess out of all of what I'm saying is, I don't want you to think that putting so much pressure in that you have to do this, whatever this may be, forever. You may do this for 6 months, get enough money to purchase something else that might take a little bit of an investment. You can always reinvent yourself to what you're currently interested in and what you want to do. So I would say you need to write down a couple of ideas. I would say that you need to do a clutter dump or a brain dump and kind of circle things you really, really like to do and kind of see which one sticks out, or maybe the one that may be easier for you to start tomorrow, let's just say. And that would be my 2 cents.
Thank you, Starr. Let's see the chat. Okay. Are there any other questions for Idia or for Starr regarding the discussion this evening? You can unmic and you can drop your question in the chat.
And while we're waiting, Markea, I can address the question. I just want to make sure everybody saw it. The question was about the fees associated with trademark applications, patent applications, copyright registration. So there are fees associated, and that really depends on a lot of different factors. What type of application you're submitting, whether it's like the typical trademark application or that intent to use one that I talked about, where you plan on using it 6 months from now. How many products you're trying to get into that application. So for example, for Apple, they can do one application and they can include computers, they can include iPhones, they can include laptops, they can include tablets. And every time you add what's called a class, a trademark class, that increases the fee. So it really just depends on like what you're trying to do with the application. And I put in the chat a link that kind of shows the general fee structure for trademark, but it depends as you go through the application and you start clicking stuff and adding stuff, then the number will start to go up.
Thank you. And I believe we had a question from Teresa.
Good evening, all. Thank you so much for the information that you've shared with us tonight. My question revolves around branding and whether your thoughts about the wisdom of employing professionals to do your branding for you.
You mean to like hire someone to do it for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I'm all for you receiving the help of consulting or even going on Fiverr. And the reason why is because sometimes when it's so personal to you and so in front of you, it is harder for you to get it out there, whereas somebody's like, I see exactly where you're going with it. And you can still control it, but because they're detached from it, they are able to help you to build that out. So I 100% believe in investing in your business, especially from a branding standpoint, because there are professionals. Like I do a lot of branding for my clients, and especially with social media, but people think I'm a social media manager because I manage social media content creators who have millions of followers, but I barely be on social media. But I'm able to help my clients to come up with ideas and branding because that's my background. Their background is to content create. and things of that nature. So together we make phenomenal posts and leadway. But absolutely, Fiverr is a great one for you to start with, if like a low cost and it's kind of like just project based. There are a lot of marketing and branding consultants. I am one. So if you want to have a discussion with me offline, we can definitely do that as well. But to answer your question, yes, please do that.
And I will also add, just make sure that you are retaining ownership of the things that you have these groups creating for you. It seems like a duh thing, but you'd be very surprised, like the type of stuff that people try to, sometimes these companies try to like slide into agreements. So I think that's where, you know, a good lawyer will come in. I can't particularly do that because I have a non-compete with McDonald's, but you know, I think that's where like the lawyer comes in to help you to make sure that you're retaining rights and the things that you are co-creating with the company.
And would you consider that safe if they sign an NDA?
Yeah, I mean, I say sign an NDA when you tell them,
Yeah,
give them an NDA, brother, sister, I don't
absolutely.
care. Have them sign
Always have an NDA.
always an NDA.
Always.
Find one on Google.
Yes.
Simple NDA. Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, because with anybody that I'm discussing anything with, whether I'm giving them information or receiving it, is always an NDA in place, because if I come up with something similar or different or work with another client, I don't want it to conflict. And they think you gave them my idea. And I'm like, so many people are thinking of the same thing at the same time, to be honest, which brings me to the point of time is of the essence. When you sleep on these gifts and ideas that you have, and I know so many of us have looked, I'm like, oh my God, I thought about that 5-10 years ago. Someone is always thinking of those things. So yes, NDAs are great. I see another question.
Ryan?
I had a question in regards to branding. I wanted to know how long would you advise someone to strategize in the development stage before progressing to the startup stage with their companies?
Okay. So to me, you're going to always be progressing your your business. So to me, that's an ongoing thing. I kind of like to do them concurrently because of what I just said, which was time. I think getting things out there as you're building and things of that nature. Okay, well, let me just make sure I understand. When you say startup, you mean give it to the world, or you mean startup as in charging? Like, what exactly do you mean by startup? So I can make sure I'm on the same.
When I say startup, I mean like completely starting from the ground up with a business. So, you know,
Okay.
starting a development stage, trying to figure out what your brand is, how you want to represent yourself to the world. How long do you feel like someone should stay in that stage and really strategize what they want to represent before reaching that startup stage where you're actually, you know, taking action? Because, you know, sometimes people rush. I'm a person that rush, so that's why I'm asking.
So I'm gonna tell you that the fact, okay, so let's unpack that. That's my favorite thing. Let's unpack that a little bit. I believe that as long as you have a few of the non-negotiables in order, that you can put it out there. And what I mean by that is your logo. And logos do change, I'm gonna be honest with you. But if you have a few of the non-negotiables that even if you alter some things, people know that that's your brand. I think for me, it's really hard when people do this whole strategy for a year. And then by year 2, they have a complete wipe over of what it is and it was pointless. So I'm gonna say, I think it's more of a time frame, more so than how prepared are you with the information that you're putting out there. So if you're like, hey, I'm gonna start with a lip gloss, and that's fine, and then you add eyeshadow, that's fine. But if you're saying, I'm gonna start with lip gloss under my brand, and then you decide, well, you know what, I want to do gym shoes now people are confused because those are not in the same, well, they're kind of still fashion, but it's not in the same thing like beauty versus fashion. Or if you went from lip gloss to makeup palettes, people are okay with that, it aligns. If you go from gym shoes to shoelaces, it aligns. But if you're kind of starting, or you say, you know what, I don't want to do lip gloss or shoes, I want to babysit. You know what I mean? And it's under the same brand. It just looks as if people are going to be confused. So my thing will make sure you have your like the things that you are set on. This is what my brand is going to represent. It's going to be a fashion line, da, da, da. You can always add umbrellas. I don't know about the babysitting under that, but I do believe in adding umbrellas. I know a lot of people who have businesses that are the same name and they have no relation. It might be, ABC Car Wash, ABC Heating and Cooling, ABC this, and they're really the same company. And they have the same little logo, and, let's say it's some blocks, but the companies have no relation, but they're under the same parent company. So I'm saying all that to say that there's no set time to start, but make sure when you put it out to the world that whatever you started on that path, you're going to be consistent with, versus saying, well, I want to keep this name, but I want to completely switch it to something completely different, and they're lost within 6 months. And now your website is, you like one type of customer, and it's something different where that customer may not want the second product that you are offering. Does that make sense? Did I lose you?
No, it makes sense.
Did I answer your question though?
Yeah, you did answer my question.
Because there's no time frame, but I would say just prepare. Make sure you have your logo. Make sure that you have your name. Make sure that you understand who your demographic is. Make sure that you understand the direction of your company. Things can always alter, but make sure you at least have those four in place.
Okay, thank you.
I'm so glad you said like those non-negotiable things.
Yes.
Absolutely agree. I nothing to add.
And I have some, if there's no more, if there's any more questions, perfectly fine, but okay, because I have some more tips that I would love to.
If you could just go back to the difference between branding and marketing. There was a question in the chat, just wanting to go back over that a little bit.
So marketing is essentially how, and I can take marketing, Starr, if you want to take branding. So marketing, so marketing is like your campaign for your brand. So marketing is something you do in order to get your brand out there. An example I can think of right now, so, and again, McDonald's is always on my mind, but right now we have like the Grimace birthday cake, the Grimace birthday party. So it's like this Grimace shake. Apparently people are doing this TikTok thing where they're like dying from eating it, but you won't because I had it. But that is like a marketing campaign for the McDonald's brand. So marketing is like the things you do, whether it's commercials, advertisements, social media is huge now. Those things to help get your brand across, to help expose people to what your brand is. So marketing is the way to get your brand out there.
Okay. You want me to go
Yeah.
in now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So she answered it within answering that as well. But branding is actually like kind of creating the unique image of your brand. Like I consider branding the personality of your business. So again, that goes into the reputation, that goes into the customer service, that goes into the visualization of it. It goes into it's like your identity. It's the DNA. It's like your driver's license. That's your brand. This is all the information about what your brand is. So again, another example, the same example is Chick-fil-A. Their identity of their brand is good customer service, Christian, faith-based customer service. I don't know if everybody's not from Chicago, but I was going to say like Harold's, you don't know what you're going to get when you go in Harold's except for mound sauce, but the customer service is not going to be necessarily the same. So that's not their DNA. However, their DNA is mound sauce. Their DNA is, this is the Chicago chicken. And so that's their DNA. That's the personality of their brand, if that makes sense. Well, brand is the personality of your business.
Yeah. And like you don't have anything to market if you don't have a brand.
Right. And then if your marketing and your reputation is not great, which is the DNA of it, then you're going to have to do different marketing tactics, or the marketing tactics may not work, which is why people are doing always the cancel culture. Let's boycott this. Let's do that. That's because the reputation of the brand has been under attack for something that they didn't like. And now they have to come up with a new marketing strategy in order to protect the brand or try to continue to keep their customers happy or service. And that's why they always, if you're on Twitter, it's a new business every day putting out an apology.
Yep.
That's to protect the personality of the brand.
Yeah. That reputational protection is very important.
And I actually want to go back to something, Ryan's question, because I thought about something. And so just good business practice, I would say, for the question that was about time, I wouldn't say necessarily there's a time, but what I would say that a good business practice is to do your business on a quarterly basis, just to keep up with time. So Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and give yourself personal goals for the business. That way you're on track, and then you're not stuck in a development stage for too long. And then you're not stuck in this phase for too long. So it may not be necessarily within the 3 months of each, but you can say, if you give yourself kind of those goals that I believe align in most corporations and business, then you will be able to say, hey, by Q3, I want to be able to push out my product into the world. By Q4, I'm hiring a marketing company to put this product out. So I would say that may be just a good way to kind of keep you on track, but there's no set, time frame.
Thank you, Starr. Are there any further questions that you would like to pose to Idia or Starr? Or do you all have any final thoughts, Idia or Starr?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go.
I just want to stress the importance of intellectual property in the Black community, and how that sometimes even more than real property, like houses, apartment buildings, how that really can be a gateway to economic wealth. So, don't ever think your idea is too small. Use the resources that are out there. I put a really good book in the chat, one of my Howard professors, about starting a business. And IP is something that the African American community is just really starting to tap into, but it is such a wealth amasser. So I really hope this was helpful, and just kind of open, if you've never heard about it before, just kind of opened your eyes to a new way to accumulate wealth in the Black community.
Thank you. Starr, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of give these 10 entrepreneur branding tips. So if it just to kind of help people that may be having some questions, and if they didn't ask, but if we didn't cover it, just to maybe get them to thinking a little bit. So the first one is to define your personal brand. So clearly define what you stand for and what differentiates you from others. So just make sure that is a clear, that's clear, so that even yourself is sure. Somebody say, what do? You're not like, well, you want to be very confident in that. Develop a strong logo. Now the logo can take a little bit of time. I'm gonna be with my own logo. I love it, but I started 8-9 years ago, and I'm like, my logo is a great logo, but I want it to be bigger. I feel like the person who did it for me was a friend, and it wasn't as professional as I feel like I would need it to be in order to where I am now versus where I was then. So I wouldn't just make my logo better, but it will still be the same logo. It would just have a better design. Your logo should be simple, memorable, and it should definitely be a reflective of your brand's values. Build a strong online presence. So this means create a website, especially for business. Facebook is really great website for business. Social media platform for business. Create a website that you have that can link all of your social media platforms. So if you want to take customers through your website, you can. If you want to attach it to your Twitter, if you want to attach it to your, I believe that websites hold all of the information and is the glue to your business. You can charge through your website. People can link and kind of see your social media presence if you want them. You can have a photo gallery. So websites are very important. Social media accounts in this day and age are extremely important as well. And then whatever other online platforms that you believe would help you to connect with your audience, you should do that. If you have a younger audience, TikTok. If you have a maybe older but more and you have an older but also established audience, to be honest, that's Facebook. The middle audience is Instagram, people who just want to have pictures, but a lot of business is done in the DMs. So, don't sleep on Instagram. Depending on your business, you may want to do all of those. And then Twitter is really big. I don't personally use Twitter a lot, but a lot of people still look to Twitter for certain business things and context. You want to use content marketing. So create valuable content that aligns with your brand's message and share it online. You can hire a social media manager for things of this nature that can help you. If you're not great at taking pictures and creating captions, there are people who they went to school for that. That is what they do. They are content creators, and they will turn your 100 followers to 10,000 in a few weeks because they understand the algorithm of social media and what it takes and what it needs. So network and collaborate. Depending on what you're in, you want to attend industry events, you want to partner with other entrepreneurs. Partnerships are gold. I'm telling you, the biggest way to build your business is not alone. It is definitely with partnerships and other people who are like-minded to what your business is doing. It is not competition. It is literally partnerships, helping each other out. Hey, Lydia, you're so dope. I do a lot of these things. My clients need what you have. Can we get on Instagram and go live? Now, my followers are looking at her. That may give her business. Well, she can't compete right now, but it may give her business. Her people are looking at me. It may give me business, and it's a great way to do. We're not in each other's lanes, but we complement each other's businesses. So you want to definitely collaborate. Build relationships with influencers to expand your reach. Influencers really do help, depending on the product. But I'm going to give some advice. Make sure that your influencers make sure that they have a great success with the product that you are promoting. If you have an influencer that has millions of followers and you bring them to a club and no one shows up, you can't be upset at that because their brand is online. So I'll give an example of what's that man's girlfriend name? Moneybag. What's his girlfriend name? Ari. Ari has a really big presence in the beauty industry. If you're selling hair and you can get Ari to sell your hair, you're going to sell out because people look to her for whatever the reason is, but they look to her for beauty. They look to her for luxury and money influence. And it's a different, but if you're not looking for that kind of in the club, fast money lane, Ari may not do well for you. You may want someone who has a different type of following, like, I don't know somebody that everybody knows. Maybe like, I don't know, Rashida. She, I guess, like older brand that does a lot. Okay, I digress. Just trying to get some examples, but leverage your customer testimonials. If you sell something that's a service or a product, you want to receive feedback from your customer. How did you enjoy this? Can you please give me a testimonial? Did my class teach you anything? You want to make sure that you, for one, get the paperwork so that they can, for the right, but make sure that, get the legal paperwork or get them to sign something saying that they have permission of their likeness or to utilize their words and their names and things of that nature, but use those, put them on your website. Hey, Markea said that I did an amazing job with this. I helped her with that. And she's like, Starr did such a great job. I'll them again. Yay. Well, that's helping our brands to get more customer attraction, especially, we didn't talk about this and it's gonna be next time, but SEOs. We'll get into that. That's basically when you Google something in search engine, how your website or your business comes up. So are you on the first page? Are you on the 22nd page? These are the things that help. So we can get into that on a later day. Offer promotions and discounts. They always say, for whatever reason, 99, 59, things ending in a 9, things a discount. So if you're selling a product for $12, it's $11.99. You could say, hey, this product is normally $15, but when they see that it's $12.99, they think they're getting such a big discount. So you also want to do that. And then you also may want to say, hey, Idia, if you bring me business, here's a link, and then it could say Idia 10, and that's 10% off. So now I'm getting business from her, and the customers are getting a discount because they're getting 10% off, and that works for everybody. You throw Idia a kickback, and we all making money. You want to do things like this. You want to host events and webinars to promote yourself and your business. You want to give people the information. You want to let them know what you're selling. You want to let them know what your program is, your product is, and you want to make yourself an expert in your field. I am the expert of selling lip gloss. Nobody has a better lip gloss than me. Do you see my lips are popping? Wait, they're not now. But if I was selling lip gloss, my lips would be popping right now because that's my brand or my business. And then I'm almost done, y'all. 2 more. You want to give back to the community. That's something I always think is great. You want to always have your business with some type of initiative. I want you to buy this lip gloss because I give 20% to young entrepreneurs that want to sell lip gloss, or young ladies in the fashion that want to become in the fashion business or something. I give back to schools, whatever that may be. And then the most important to me is you want to measure your success. You want to use your analytics and your metrics and things of that, because you definitely want to track your brand's growth and development, and you want to adjust accordingly. So if certain things aren't working, it doesn't mean you're failing, which I believe failing is okay because that's how you learn, but it just means you need to pivot or alter something, or maybe this isn't working for that. So instead of me looking at the Chicago market, maybe my product sells better in Texas because it's hot, more. It's hot more months than it is in Chicago. So that's my 10 tips. Sorry, y'all. I'll chat that.
Thank you, Starr. We appreciate the tips. Idia, did you want to go over the resources provided here?
Yeah, so really quickly, these are 2 resources that are easily accessible to everyone. They don't have a paywall. The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the USPTO website. So that's where you go when you want to learn about filing a patent application, filing a trademark application. And it has really good resources just in general about the entire process. Again, it's designed so that you don't need an attorney to do it. Again, an attorney helps, but it has a lot of resources on there for you. Excuse me. And then the U.S. Copyright Office, another government website that kind of gives you the ins and outs of obtaining the copyright. And I mentioned to Markea, I did not include on here, but I know that Howard Law has a intellectual property clinic, which I was a part of, where the students do essentially walk you through the process of obtaining your application, whether it's patent or trademark. And the only thing, and they joined this service for free. So like what would normally cost like $500 an hour, these students, we were doing it for free. The only thing you pay for is like the actual registration fees. I just went to the website, Markea. It's down, don't know why, but I know that it exists. So I will forward that information to you so you can share it, because it is a really good resource. Like we were before we were attorneys, we were doing this work trying to help people obtain their trademarks with no cost, which is like, I know a couple other law schools do it, but that's $500, $600 an hour that you're getting for free. So I would say it's an absolute good resource that you should use whenever their website is back up.
Thank you.
And another one that they can look at is the Women's Business Development Center. We didn't put that on here, but that is also a really good one. And they do have a lot of virtual classes and options right now. So it doesn't matter if you're in Chicago, I don't believe right now, but if it does, they will tell you where else you can go. And their whole business is about helping women entrepreneurs for less. And they are grant funded because they are a nonprofit. And so most times they don't charge you anything, but there may be a few classes you may have to pay for, but that's far and in between. Like they'll have a class that might cost you, let's say whatever, as for a certificate, they'll give it to you for like $99, and it might be like $5,000 somewhere else. So
Thank you for that additional resource. And what we'll do is email out all the resources provided this evening, so you guys will have a quick reference guide. So I want to thank Idia and Starr for their expertise and for them just sharing their wisdom and knowledge on tonight's topic. We never do anything great for us. We truly appreciate you joining this evening. We would love for you to stay connected with Alpha Kappa Alpha Gamma Kappa Omega chapter. On the page are our social media, our website. We do take a break in July, but we will be coming back in August with more programming. But please stay connected with our Facebook, our Instagram, and our YouTube to know what we're doing in the community, in the surrounding areas around you. So once again, my name is Markea Haywood. I appreciate each and every one of you joining us, but what we'll do, if you would like to connect with Idia or with Starr, the email that I'll be sending out will have their contact information, and you can ask them any additional questions offline. So we thank you once again for joining us for Power Up Your Brand, the Entrepreneur Edition, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Oh.